Hello and welcome to the Chilled Cardano podcast. I am Illinois with my co-host here, Chilled Cardano on Twitter. We're back.
What's up, guys? We're back. The markets are pumping. Shit's about to get interesting. All the bears have been crushed to oblivion.
Stomped on. Shall we take a look at those charts?
Let's look at these
First
charts.
time in a couple weeks.
And if you guys want to go back and look at some of our past episodes, we did call this out. We are the Nostradamus.
Did we?
Yeah.
I can't remember. Oh, this is messed up. Here's Bitcoin. So we saw back in November, big old dump from FTX. And we were down here in the 16,000s, 17,000s. And then, like, right as January started, we just started getting, like, these bullish pumps. And then we kept pumping, had a little lull here, some consolidation, and then jumped up all the way to 23,500. And then I guess there's another resistance at like 25-ish. But it looks like we're ready to pump again, like anytime, maybe today, or maybe it's just another fake out candle. Who knows? But I mean, that's awesome to see. And then for ADA,
We're right behind, right?
Yeah. Like we haven't had that last big pump, but it's been kind of like a steady increase. But you're just waiting for that like giant candle, you know?
Yeah.
And they've broken through like a couple resistances, and I feel like we haven't really even tested this 40-cent one.
Buy it at these prices. Not financial advice. Buy at these prices now because this thing's about to explode. Bitcoin is at 23.5. Like, once that consolidates, it's just always how it goes. Once Bitcoin consolidates for a couple hours, couple days, then everything catches up, right? So I love seeing that pop because that like gives you time to look at Cardano and be like, cool, this hasn't popped yet. It's gonna pop. Buy at these prices because like even if you want to make a quick profit, you could do that. But yeah, everything's trending up. So like it's so fun watching the bears just like be like, guys, stay in your shorts. This thing's gonna go back down. Like this trend's not over. But I think you kind of just have to play it day by day, week by week, and like we've been going down for over a year, so it's like obviously once the trend is broken, it's going to be hard for it to go back down. We just had so much negative shit coming out, so when you see the trend break to the opposite side, it's you kind of just have to ride it. Don't think too deeply about it. Don't get philosophical. Don't look at the macro and be like, well, like obviously we're going into a recession for 2023. This is impossible. But here's the thing about how the world works is if things don't continue to go up, it's kind of like nothing else matters. You know, like we can't have a depression. We can't have a recession because like that's just how our system works. It's like we print money to make money.
Keep the game going.
Keep the game going, yeah. So I would like if you see an opportunity to like get in at a certain point, I would try to do that. Like you find, and that goes for native tokens too. Watch those charts as well. It's just be smart about it. I would not be shorting. It's basically the overall consensus idea of today's episode is do not short, Eric. Bad idea.
Wow, you really turned
go ahead.
Fully bullish.
I'm full bull, baby. I mean, like, we also saw on Friday, Amazon is getting into the NFT game, which is fucking massive. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but my wife spends all day on Amazon. Like, that's her fucking app. You know, like, she's always on there. And to think that there's going to be another tab where you can buy digital assets, it's game over.
It's gonna
Like,
be
I would
it's
not.
gonna be a real problem for some people. Can you imagine
Even,
like these people that just like hoard shit, like
yeah,
collectibles, and then now it's just on Amazon and it's like instant gratification. Like they're gonna have like 30 bored apes, or
yeah.
and of course
Yeah,
that's what Amazon wants. Like they want those tendies.
they want them tendies, Eric. Let's take a look at the article because very like it's hard to fade NFTs, man. You want to like say that it's done, it's over, like,
Yeah.
but here we have Amazon NFT initiative coming soon. Exclusive. World's largest retailer has been hovering at the edges of Web3 tech for some time, Eric. Amazon is launching a digital assets enterprise, according to four sources familiar with the matter who have said that an NFT initiative is expected in this spring. Amazon has been shopping the digital collectibles effort to no shortage of power players in the industry, per multiple sources. Said to be among those entities are Layer 1 blockchains, blockchain-based gaming startups, and developers and digital asset exchanges. There's a focus on blockchain-based gaming and related NFT applications, two sources said. One example in the works, per one source, getting Amazon customers to play crypto games and claim free NFTs in the process. The effort is still developing, sources said. April appears to have been penciled in for the e-commerce giant to make its bold crypto ambitions public. There's more to this article, Eric, but just kind of like wanted
What do
to.
you think they're gonna pick?
Obviously, Ethereum,
Like Polygon or
Polygon,
some shit?
yeah. But I don't think that means that you can fade everything else. I just think like that's like the thing that people always forget about is like just because they didn't pick the thing that you're into doesn't mean that your thing's not going to pump as well, because it's kind of like
Yeah.
this, like similar things will pump, like because this thing pumps, this, like, it's like Bitcoin pumps, the rest of the market's going to pump. It just,
Right.
everything's
Mm.
connected. So what's good for the goose is good for the gander, as they say.
I was gonna say that. I was waiting for you to stop. But you got it out yourself. Very
Yeah.
nice.
So I just think it's like any like we're starting to get good news back, right? And like this is what I love when everything's bearish, everything's losing money. You get like these big heads coming in and saying, Bitcoin's dead, crypto's dead, it's never coming back. Like you should sell now because this
Yeah.
whole thing's dead, which makes absolutely no sense. But then you start seeing stuff like this where you can have an NFT market integrated into the Amazon app. It's hard to fade stuff like that because it's like if they're balls deep into NFTs, all the other stuff's coming too. It's like DeFi's here to stay. None of this stuff's going anywhere. I mean, it's basically
Yeah.
telling you that uh, the masses are just catching up now.
Yeah. Yeah, and so get your blue chip NFTs now.
Get your Ape
Um
Nations, your Clapes, your
Clips.
Clapez.
Some people like those, I guess. Very, very cool, very exciting for our future in crypto. But people are not excited about NFTs at the moment, I feel like, especially in Cardano. Like it's very dead. So I know it's because like Cardano's pumping, but it's just interesting to see the cycles, like
Yeah.
when you're deep in the bear, people get bored, they buy the NFTs. When Cardano's pumping, they don't need that, excitement. So they're selling their NFTs or just holding. So you kind of gotta play the cycles, I think. If you're
Yep.
if you're into that, if you're just holding, you don't have to, but it's hard to time all that stuff though. Like
Very
you never
hard.
know when it's gonna come.
No, and that's why you should always just invest into the things that you believe in. So it's like if there's certain NFTs that you like or love or you think have a lot of promise in the future, regardless of the cycle that you're in, just hang on to one of them. Like I wouldn't sell everything.
Yeah.
And I think it's just silly. It's like if you go back and you look at when Microsoft first started and then you look at the chart and it's just straight up for the past 20 years. It's like if you just hung on to it, you'd be in a lot of money. So it's like that with
Yeah.
assets that you find strong or like have promise. Just hang on to them. Like they're gonna depreciate in value for a couple weeks, but then they'll appreciate more. It's just one of those things, everything cycles on and off. And you
Yeah.
could play that game, and it's like if you have the time to be in front of your computer and just be constantly trading, God bless you. But like a lot of us have jobs that we don't sit in front of the computer, and so you can't just be trading constantly as your boss looks over your shoulder. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, so it's like like try to play it. Yeah, like once you see Cardano trending, like the just the asset, like yeah, everything against it is gonna drop. It's just because people are gonna go back into ADA to be like, I want to ride that wave, and so your favorite NFT is gonna drop some,
Yeah.
but I still think it's like you might miss out on that next run on the NFTs too, like, and it's just funny when people are like, well, NFTs are dead, like those aren't coming back, and it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's funny when you see like the JPEG store keep updating their homepage and everything's looking spicy.
Keep stealing people's ideas and putting them out there.
You want to talk about that?
Uh, we can talk about it. Let me see if I could find it.
Yeah,
You
so
want to?
apparently, yeah, JPEG store may have they like to how do we say this? Appreciate other people's ideas by utilizing them in their own system. Um and I believe
The
they created
highest
like
form of
flattery.
flattery.
It's to steal. No.
So this
So what do we got
says
here?
this is Saturn NFT IO, which I think they have their own NFT like creation platform. And or JPEG store posted this like, how are you feeling today? And then it's like happy, sad, and then like kissy face or something. And then so these Saturn NFTIO people, they imported the same image into their software, and it turned out they got the exact same faces as JPEG store. So it seems
Hello,
like
Cardano.
whoops. Seems like they might have stolen their, you know, system here.
Idea. Yeah.
Yeah. And then people are like tagging JPEG store and they never responded, which is always
Yikes.
kind of sketchy. So, you got to keep them honest and be like, hey, if you're going to call out other people for not having, doing due diligence, then you should be able to respond to people like asking you the same questions, kind of. And I like JPEG store, but if you're stealing from the smaller guys in the ecosystem, like it's kind of a dick move. Especially if you're not like they could have bought it from them. Like they have a shitload of money,
Yeah.
but they're just like, let's steal it. And maybe they didn't steal it, but they just haven't. They should respond to the accusation at least. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the thing about business is it's cutthroat too. And if a lot of this stuff is open source and they're just implementing, it doesn't look great, but
Yeah,
also like I understand it. And most people aren't following Saturn NFT, so they're probably not going to even care or see it. They're just going to see that there's a new cool feature on JPEG Store. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people aren't on
Yeah.
Twitter, so it's like, it sucks, and it's kind of just how business goes. Like, the small guy's always getting fucked, and it's just all about competition at the end of the day. Like, you could sit here and say how cute JPEG Store is, but they're a beast when it comes to competition, and they're not taking they're gonna try to kill their opposition. You know, anybody who else is trying to make a marketplace, they're playing dirty, and they're threatening people
Right.
with the SEC and lawsuits. So you have to be really smart, and it's like when it comes to business and, you know, people's livelihood, they're gonna go for the throat. Um,
Yeah.
and it's like we could all, you know, throw on Twitter, we're all gonna make it, and all this stuff about cooperation and stuff, but at the end of the day, when, you know, someone's trying to make money off of JPEGs and that's their game, obviously you've seen Blake Brown be like, yo, I'm coming for your throat, like, and that's just how you have to look at it, you know. So it's like, now we're playing this game of open source and closed source. If you have a killer
Yeah.
feature, you might want to make it closed source now, because it's just like at least get your
Gotta
footing
protect your
underground.
IP.
Yeah, because it's
Yeah.
like we're getting to this point where it's going to get real competitive between all these businesses, and a lot of them are making marketplaces, and they're all trying to steal each other's thunder, you know, and their audience. It's fair game. I don't know. It's like that Michael Jordan
Indeed it
meme,
is.
and I took offense to that, and then I
I took
scored
that
80.
personally.
I took that personally.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm
I
not
mean,
saying
now that
it's
we're
good.
getting
I wish it was different, but like when you start to get into like these small businesses and stuff, and it's like they want to win, man. These people are highly competitive people. They're very smart. You know, you can't take these people lightly. And if you're gonna throw out a really good idea, they're gonna steal it from you. You know.
yeah. Yeah, it's like when you're small, you know, like as a blockchain, everyone's kind of nice to each other and works together. But then as you grow, it's like becomes more of a like any business. Like people are just gonna fuck each other over and
Yeah.
they want the top for themselves. So I mean that's just part of life, you know.
Yeah.
The bigger
You
the
know.
community, the less personalized it is and easier to fuck each other over, I guess. Um, because everyone wants they want the bigger slice of the pie.
Everybody wants every last Lovelace, Eric.
Yes. Uh, but yeah, what else was there news wise? We
Liquid finance,
got
baby.
liquid finance
Let's go. Coming
coming
out
to the
next
main net.
week.
Yes,
Let's get
sir.
into it, Eric.
Um, so they basically tweeted that we're gonna be ready to go next week, either Monday or Tuesday, and this is gonna be the main net. Um, I was looking on their Discord and they're supposed to release their like test net this weekend, but it seems like they're running into issues. And then it's kind of funny. DC is like fighting with people in the Discord. Like some
What do
guy
you,
keeps like ragging on him, and it's like you have to release a test net like at least a week before mainnet. Like that's how it works in tech. Like, and then DC is like, well, actually, like trust me, like I work with all these devs. Like we have everything set up for mainnet. This is just so you guys could like test it out. Like it has nothing to do with like we don't need it for anything. And I guess it's just like I don't think he needs to be fighting with people on Discord right now. It's kind of funny to watch, but he has like an ego, so
he's
he
quite the
feels like
controversial character.
yeah.
He's become one, at least. So it'll
Yeah.
be interesting to see how it plays out, because if this thing's not a fucking dime piece, I think people are gonna just eat it to shreds, you know, like just shit all over it.
I know. It could go either way, really.
It really can. Yeah, I mean, this is like the premier Cardano app that's being released next week. this is like the diamond, right? This is like people are gonna come here for this app. So if
Yeah.
this thing doesn't work right, it's gonna be a bad luck, you know. So I understand where that guy's coming from, where it's like, can you do a test net beforehand the release, just so if there
Yeah.
is like a major error or something.
Right.
Because it's like it's one thing to do it in a test environment where it's like you're doing it yourself with a couple hundred testers, but when you have
Yeah.
thousands of people using it at the same time, that's when you might run into issues, you know. And there's really no
Exactly.
environment for that. So I guess that also argues his point, where it's like we're just not going to know until we know, you know. So we kind of have to release it into the wild to be like,
Right.
and even then, it's like, even if there's a couple bugs here and there where it's like there's some weird input exhausted error, like that's easily fixable. Where it's like if like somebody's able to find like something wrong in the smart contract and steal other people's money, that's gonna be bad. And you know, we really
Yeah.
hope something like that doesn't happen.
Yeah. Usually it takes like a month though, or like it takes a little while for people to find that kind of stuff. So even if they had it up for a weekend, it wasn't, it's not gonna make a difference. They would have had it up like a month ago.
Well, luckily too, like all these bigger apps are kind of working together. Like there's the Wing Riders. Those guys are
Working
fucking
together, aka extorting.
yeah, extorted. I mean, like if you're gonna have somebody extort your shit, it's gonna be Wing Riders. God bless them.
Yeah.
And like, hey, give us 500 grand, or we're gonna release this to all the hackers. Uh, so you have those guys.
Got their white hats on.
They're white hats. Very excited for this. This should be coming out Tuesday.
Tuesday. Yeah.
I could also see it being pushed back. Like I said, because I haven't seen the
Yeah.
testnet either. I've been wanting to play with it.
Yeah.
You know, just to get like used to the app, and so I know how to use it when I'm using real ADA.
They're saying Monday, so we'll see if that Monday that testnet.
Okay.
We'll
Are
see
you
if
going
they
to be
hold
using
to
this,
that or
Eric?
not. I usually don't use stuff like right when it comes out, but I might, just because I feel like the rewards will be higher for like the first couple weeks.
Yeah, they usually are. That what is it, like the premiere entry, whatever.
Yeah. Can you go to their other tweets? There's one that shows like the rewards. Go down a little, maybe. Yeah, that one.
This one or this one?
6-time yield. So like the amount of yield you get is insane, which will like, it's gonna like inflate the amount of tokens, but so I want I don't know the perfect amount of tokens that I want to play around with, but so I'm trying to figure that out. But so you stake, or you put your ADA in here and you get 4% liquid yield, staking yields. And then you get Q ADA, you mint that, and you get interest generated from borrowers' accrued interest. You get a piece of that. And then you get the LQ, which some people already have this. And then so you earn that if you stake the Q ADA, right?
Yeah.
And then with the LQ, you get the protocol revenue, plus you get more LQ, like yield farming type thing, and you get to vote on stuff. And then there's a liquidity pool that you can do with the LQ token, and then you can stake those LQ token or LP liquidity pool like token, I guess you get, and then you get even more of like a percentage of the revenue and all that stuff. So I don't know how much that will end up percentage wise being, but it's kind of insane. Like, and also if you borrow LQ, you also get like yield from the LQ. It's like a 50-50 cut for suppliers and borrowers. So it's kind of crazy. Like you can go and borrow what you just staked and then also get like rewarded for that. So it'll be interesting to see how people like game that system. I'm sure
Yeah,
there's a way.
this is gonna be fun. It's gonna be
Yeah.
chaos because there's gonna be ways to game each, you know, each path. So it's like between ADA and QADA, QADA and liquid and staking your liquid, and then the LQ, LP, ADA pool. So it's like gonna be
Yeah.
insane. It's gonna be fun. I think you're gonna see the Cardano TVL go fucking apeshit next week because you have
Yeah.
this. So this is fun, and then Jed's coming out as well, Eric.
Yes. And that will be another way to earn some yield through either Shen or Jed. I was actually watching like the Learn Cardano podcast about he like interviewed the guy from Cody, and it's kind of interesting. It's like basically the exact same as Sigma USD, how they have like their reserve token, and then like if it reaches a certain percentage, like you can't mint it anymore. So I'm kind of familiar with that already, which is good for me. I never fuck with the reserve token though, because like I just don't understand how you make money off of it because I'm not that smart. But I will fuck around with the stable coin for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be one of those things where, there's going to be a learning curve to play with it. And yeah, Cardano Whale, if you haven't been following him, follow him. He was kind of talking about it where it's like between like 400%, 800% is like the reserve, right? So you need to put in 4 ADA to get like, let's just say 1 ADA is $1. You need to put 4 ADA in to get 1 JED USD, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when that ratio is off, right, when a bunch of people start to sell their JED or Shen, whatever that reserve token is, and it goes below 400%,
Yeah.
that smart contract will lock. So you won't be able to sell anymore. And the interest rates will go through the roof, right? Which will entice people to buy more of the reserve token to get that thing back above 400. So at that point, once it goes below that 400%, that's when you want to buy that reserve token because you're getting interest and you'll get that price appreciation when it does bounce back, right? And then on the opposite side, when there's too much, when it's out of whack, and that's what it's trying to create this balance, right? Where it's like there's not too much of one asset, and that way you keep things balanced, things don't get crazy, right? So if it gets above 800%,
yeah,
that's when you would want to like short it or like somehow get into a short position on the protocol or like use like a centralized exchange to short. You would want to short the Shen back into that zone, right? And then you would accrue that interest and whatever
or you want
make.
to sell it before it reaches that level.
Yeah,
otherwise you're stuck with it,
right?
Or burn it, I guess, not sell, but
I love that.
Like
I love how much
about equilibrium
with like people want to connect it to like Lunaterra, but like they didn't have any reserve. It was like 1 to 2. It was something really low where it was like they were just always trying to play catch up because it was always out of whack. And that's what the nice thing about having this much reserve is, like it's so crazy reserve that like with these price movements between like 24 cents to 39 cents for ADA, like it would be able to like deal with that no problem. You know, that's what makes me excited for this. It's like it took a long time to come out, but and we've seen it also, like this is very similar to what they did on Ergo, right?
Yeah,
You were saying it's the same,
it's the same
uh,
principle,
same principle, same paper. So that thing's been out in the
and
wild for
it's
over a
worked really
year.
well over there.
Yeah. So I'm really excited for this. I think it's going to work out really well. And the cool thing about having that reserve ratio is like we're going to have a shit ton of ADA locked up for this
Yeah,
thing to even properly work. So you're going to see every decentralized exchange buy a shit ton of ADA to lock up for collateral for their liquidity pools because everyone's going to want USD liquidity pools, right? And that's what's so fun about having Jed come online. You're gonna have Liquid Finance come online. Like all these new liquidity pools that aren't live yet they're gonna need to buy ADA to fill these pools
yeah,
up, you know. And MinSwap, Wing Riders, Muesli Swap, and then God knows whatever else we have. But that's why I'm excited. Like for this price too, it's like pretty much like if you're trying to make money, like get into a long position on ADA. Like this is gonna blow up,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. And then projects can actually put, some of their funds into Jed instead of all ADA, and then they get
Yeah.
wrecked when the market goes down.
Yeah, guys,
If
use
they're smart.
this. Use the everybody also like not just projects, but like
You.
you use it. Like try it out. Like mess with it, play with it. Like this is literally the whole like reason why we have this is like now you can start to like keep something like so you're not screwing yourself over if you're truly living paycheck to paycheck and you're using this shit like you'll actually be able to have like a bank account, right? And there's going to be really
Yeah.
cool shit. Like now that you have this stability, like this stable coin on here, now you'll be able to earn interest off of that. Like maybe somebody will start making bank accounts, right? That you could be like, deposit your, Jed in here, earn 6%, 8%. Like if you put $1,000 in there, that's pretty good over a year's time, and you're not worrying about
Yeah.
price fluctuations, right? So it's like, okay, I'm going to invest with $1,000. I'll have $1,000 kept on this Jed, right? And then like as you make profit, you can move it over. Like whatever your portfolio, whatever you want your portfolio to look like, this is going to be so helpful for that, to like really
Yeah.
have like a great way where you don't even have to leave the ecosystem anymore. Like before you'd have to use different wallets, you'd have to use different chains, and now everything can stay in house. It's going to be so good for the ecosystem. I'm like finally excited. It's like we've been talking about this for like over a year, I would say.
Yeah.
And it's like all coming this week. So, and that's not to mention even like Axo
Amazing.
Trade, which is like the biggest DEX that's coming online. Who knows when that's coming? But when it does, it's going to be even like more TVL that'll be locked up too for their pools as well. So, I'm pumped, Eric.
One day we'll get it.
I think it's coming. Yeah, Axo's coming.
It's
But yeah,
interesting how last year
sorry, go ahead.
was last year was similar in that like we were waiting for a while for dexes, and then they all like a couple different things released in like early February, and then it was like things started coming out like gradually after that. But it's kind of the same time frame as last year, but now we're getting things that are like layered on top, so
Yeah.
just the timing is interesting. I wonder if there's like, I guess the holidays throw everything off, right? So if you had it planned in November, it's like kind of hard to get things out. Might as well wait till next year. But it's exciting to get everything at once. I've been wanting a stable coin forever, so it's going to be nice.
It's going to be awesome. I mean, and this is not the only stable coin we're getting. We're also soon, at some point, we'll be getting USDA. Not the meat, Eric, but another stable coin built by Emergo, which is like the third head of Cardano. You have like IOG, Emergo, and the Cardano Foundation. But so what's cool about USDA is they're working with banks to actually connect your like bank to the blockchain. So you'll be able to uh buy like from your bank account
Yeah.
USD, right? And then take that USD, and because it's a native token, be able to switch into Cardano. So basically, you won't need any more centralized exchanges to buy Cardano anymore. You'll be able to just basically buy Cardano from your own bank account,
Yeah.
theoretically speaking, which is pretty fucking badass if you ask me. Like now you'll be able to like have another checking account that's basically like seamlessly be able to switch into ADA and back into USDA,
Yeah.
which is very nice. I mean, like now that people are used to the code base, like you're starting to get these really cool apps that are opening up these new ideas and ways to make money and invest your money, and they're working seamlessly with regular finance. So it becomes uh so easy for regular people to use this stuff too. And it's just gonna get better. Like obviously, you know, people who are here, you're here early. But like the next year, like imagine all this stuff, version 2, version 3, version 4. It's just gonna get better. It's gonna get more easy to
Yeah.
use, you know?
Yeah. And people trust Cardano more now that a lot of stuff has been released. They don't think it's like a scam for some reason. They thought that maybe like last year. Now they're saying, "Oh, it's just another blockchain that has its own things to offer." So hopefully we get some more adoption from that as well.
Yeah, I think we will. People still hate Charles. There was that article
Yes.
about him trying to buy CoinDesk, and a bunch of journalists wrote like a oppositional post to be like, "This would be the worst thing for CoinDesk ever."
Oh, please.
Yeah,
Like
they're just basically they were
you're not
arguing.
owned by some conglomerate that
Yeah,
pushes their own agenda.
yeah. That's why I was like, I would hope you would buy it just to be like, fuck you. Like, now you
I
write
mean,
for
you almost
me.
need your own media to like push a narrative if people are constantly attacking you. Like, I mean, Rupert Murdoch owns like 8 like news channels. Like no one's telling him to sell them all, you know.
I think,
Um
yeah, I mean, that's the problem with like, it's not the problem. It's Cardano's very like, do things the right way. You know, they want a brighter future for everybody, and willing
yeah,
to, they're not willing to concede that by, you know, playing all the shitty games that everybody else is playing, all the
right.
backhanded deals that are going on, that
Yeah,
smaller chains use to like get up with everybody else. And it's like, do you want Cardano to play those games? Because they could, but then you get sucked into that forever, where it's like now you're constantly paying people to say good things about your chain, whether it's true or not. And it's like that
right.
never ends. So it's like, or do you take this other path where it's like you're just built on your ideas, and if like they're good, then people will use them, and you don't like need um to buy people off to say good things about you so that you can succeed in the future. You know, like hopefully you just have people like us that do it for free and send it on
Cool guys.
YouTube. You know, a couple cool guys like us. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think you should do it, honestly. Like people will get over it very fast. Like people get over shit. The news cycle changes and then they'll just forget that he even owns it.
Right. I would
But
love
I
to see him
also
make
think people will
something
just yeah,
like,
people might just like discount anything they put out because they'll be like, oh, it's pro Cardano, you know?
but I think like that's changing too. I think you're seeing it over time. It's just we have so much shit on our chain that people use.
Yeah.
It's hard to deny them and be like, "Oh, Cardano doesn't." It's like, well, why are people talking about this? Why are people talking about that? Like our
I
NFTs
think
and
it's funny, like on Twitter, I've seen how people's like arguments have changed, like what they say to put down Cardano and like lately it's been like the last one I saw was like, oh, they don't have like working dexes, like they don't have like what other people have, and like they have, still saying it's like not being used, and I'm like, but that's just not true anymore. Like, I mean, we could use more like DeFi stuff, but it's obviously like right on the cusp. So once that stuff comes out, it's gonna be like, what's the new argument? And the
They'll
arguments are
always
like becoming less and less. People are just like, there's not, you can't say we don't have NFTs anymore. Like, but yeah, there'll always be something they latch onto. But I think that people just don't want to learn about Cardano, so they just use those same narratives.
It's going to be hard to deny us when we have a stable coin like JED, because our TVL is going to go through the roof. And then once we're back in like the top 5, it's going to be like, how could you keep denying? It becomes so apparent in the media when they cover it 4 out of the 5 if Cardano's in there.
Yeah.
And they just never write an article about Cardano. The people who actually read that shit, they're going to be like, why don't you talk about these people? And then they actually will go research themselves and find out all this really cool shit. And you basically are making people diehards by not covering it, It's a win. I don't know. It's like over the long term, I don't think it really matters, because it's like if Cardano is truly built like to last forever and you start seeing really cool apps and innovative stuff that nobody else has, it's like, how do you not cover that? It's like, I think
eventually they have to,
and it's going to be the only thing we're really missing that everybody else has is a stable coin, and that's coming next week. So I think give us a couple months and let's see where we're at. I want to see how they write about it, because if you have the best stable coin on any chain, with the lowest fees and the most features, and it's stable,
decentralized.
Well, that's an issue. And we could talk about that too, because it's not, because apparently Cody is the only one who's going to have an oracle that's connected to the stablecoin for now. But I think they were more concerned about getting the actual app out and like JED into the ecosystem. We'll see. Hopefully they let some other people run an oracle so that if Cody's servers go down, this thing doesn't crap out. But here's the cool thing about Cody or JED, it's a native token. So you don't need a smart contract to run it. With like Tether, what's the other one that's out there? USDC. They're all smart contract stable coins. So if the network goes down, you can't use it. With native tokens, they're just a token. There's no programming going on. It's just an asset that sits in a wallet like Bitcoin. As long as Cardano's working, it's going to be able to be moved around, which is also good for us, but bad for the SEC. And like, because like you can't really blacklist. Yeah, you can't stop it. It'll
be interesting if people start using that when they.
That's what I'm saying. Like game changer. It's like, I mean, it's bad, but it's also, you're gonna see people move over just because you can't like blacklist. You could blacklist an address, but they could make a new wallet, send those tokens over. You'll never know. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
And I think that's why JED took so long to come out, because they're like, we can't, like, I was listening to an interview. It wasn't about JED, it was about USDA, but they're like, yeah, it's a native token. We can't stop it. But we're trying to figure out how to like work with the law enforcement just in case they come over and be like, hey, this is a drug runner. Like, you need to close these assets down. I don't know how it's going to work. I'm just saying that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Which is like a game changer for stablecoins. Is we're the only chain with native tokens like that. Like everybody else is using smart contracts to move these things around. It's going to be very interesting. Very excited.
It's all exciting. Yeah, this is like the first time we've had like truly bullish outlook. I mean, maybe since we've started this podcast. Like it's been a bear market like since our first episode. We just didn't know it yet. But
Yeah.
so I don't know. I mean, maybe like we'll hit like 30K and then, you know, dive back down. Who
I
knows?
think
But
that's very likely to see what happens. I mean, you and me, we both watch a lot of TA on Bitcoin and the whole ecosystem, and I think that's what'll happen. You know, we'll hit a blow off top like usual, and
yeah,
then we'll probably come back to like where we are right now. Like I think Bitcoin will consolidate around 23,000. Cardano will consolidate around 40 cents. You know, but that's when you accumulate again, right? That's when you're like, you know, when things are flying, you kind of just let off the handle and let it do its thing. And I wouldn't put too much money into it unless you're day trading or whatever. But you know, when
yeah,
they come back into these zones, that's when you start buying again. You know, when people start to get bearish again and be like, oh, it's back at 39 cents. Next thing it's going to be 24 cents again. It's like, that's when you buy.
and you got to make sure you sell. You know, when shit's getting like insanely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my opinion. Like when shit is going nuts, like that's when you know it's gonna end soon. Like
Poorly.
sell like, you know,
10%,
10%,
10%,
just so you don't feel
10%.
like a
Like,
piece of shit when it
yeah,
stops.
always take profit for yourself. Never
Yeah.
go full R word.
Yes.
Uh yeah, but everything's looking cake, Eric, as the kids are saying.
What what generation is that saying that? Yeah, everything's looking cake. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. So all that good stuff. Anything else you want to talk about before we wrap
Um
up?
any native tokens you want to talk about, or
Um,
I think we're good. Let's
yeah,
save it for
I
next
don't
week.
have any.
Look out for the bull run, baby.
The only thing I would say, just generally, like start taking a look at the native tokens that aren't doing well right now, that have promising like outlooks, like Clay token. But Kosi's doing well, so I don't know. That's a good example. But like Yummy is like all-time lows. Like
I bought some Yummy. I had to. It was so stupid cheap. I'm like, with everything pumping, some asshole's gonna come in here and buy like 1 million Yummy tokens. So
yeah, especially like MinSwap token is pumping, and that's like the most. Like they have so much supply, like it doesn't make sense to pump, but it still happens. So that makes me think Yummy is gonna have a similar, like the second they get any news, like it's gonna pump. So buy it now.
Also, Maker token.
Oh,
I'll
yeah,
look out for that. I do have some. Full transparency. I own Yummy. I own Maker. I still have my MinSwap. I don't know. Chart wasn't looking too hot for me, and the supply always hits me in the back of my mind. I did make some profit. It wasn't anything special to write home about, but I could buy myself a cheeseburger. Let's just say that from Mickey D's.
Ooh. Now we're talking. All right. Go buy some Yummy tokens, guys. Not financial advice. And we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Hopefully we're up there at 80% beta or something.
That'd be sick.
All right.
Peace.
Bye-bye.